the Golden State Warriors will be in the play-in tournament. The Golden State Warriors will be in the play-in tournament.
The Suns are a championship contender. Yeah. The Warriors are not.
This is nothing new. The Golden State Warriors are the only team in the NBA who get written off one game into the season, and like always, it doesn't take long for them to prove they're still pretty damn good. I mean, do these guys seriously think this team is going to be in the play-in? Not when Steph Curry is doing things like this. Herter is guarding him at near half court. Steph crosses one way before trying to get to his patented step back, which Herter defends well, so Steph has to improvise, spinning one way before then using the Saric screen to hit the midi. In fact, it was the entire third quarter where Steph Curry put the Warriors on his back and decided they weren't going to start the season 0-2. Because watch this play, where again, it's Herter defending him 35 feet from the basket. This time Steph slams on the brakes and pulls up in an instant. I'm sorry, but how on earth are you supposed to guard that? Or this play where he curls off the GP2 screen, and the minute he feels contact from Duarte, he throws it up for the and one. In the third quarter alone, Steph Curry put up 16 points on 6 of 7 shooting and 3 of 3 from 3, with the Dubs outscoring Sacramento by 12 points. And you guys want to hear something crazy? In the first 2 games of the season, the Warriors have outscored the Kings and Suns by a combined 33 points in their 2 third quarters, putting up 79 combined points in the process. I don't want to speak too soon, but is it possible that the third quarter Dubs are back? Now, getting back to the game against Sacramento, I almost feel bad for the Kings, because Steph Curry needs to leave them alone. In his last 3 games against the Kings, Steph has dropped 50 on them in Game 7 of the playoffs, hit a buzzer beater in preseason, and now this. Everyone says Steph is a great guy, but this isn't very nice, Steph. It's not nice at all. And in typical Steph fashion, his impact went beyond the box score. Like on this play where CP sets a pick for Clay. Clay comes off the pick and kicks it to Chris. And pause here. Where have we seen this before? Steph Curry draws the attention of both defenders, and CP3 drops a perfect dime to capitalize on Wiggs' nice cut. In general, Steph had the Kings defenders seeing shadows all game long, because when he wasn't killing them from the 3-point line, he was cutting backdoor and using their leverage against them. I just hope for the city of Sacramento that they don't have to see this man in the playoffs again, because they've been through enough. It doesn't help that they also have to deal with Chris Paul as well now, and whilst he hasn't exactly been shooting the ball efficiently in his first 2 games, we've already seen exactly why the Dubs have traded for him. But before we talk about that, let's thank today's sponsor, DraftKings. After what feels like years of waiting, Summer League and preseason are behind us, and finally, the basketball season is back. And what better way to enjoy the experience than with DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA? And there is absolutely no better time than now to test yourself, because right now, as a new customer, if you download the DraftKings app and use my promo code 7MAN, you'll receive $200 in bonus bets instantly when you spend $5 on any wager. And if you were already signed up for DraftKings, fear not, as all customers can get a no-sweat, same-game parlay if your bet doesn't hit. Max reward limits apply. What more could you want? Download DraftKings now, put your NBA knowledge to the test, and use my promo code 7MAN to receive $200 in bonus bets when you place $5 on any wager. That's promo code 7MAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. But before we talk about that, let's thank today's sponsor, DraftKings. As you all know, the time has come. After a long, treacherous 4 months, finally, the basketball season is back. And what better way to enjoy the experience than with DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA? And there is absolutely no better time than now to test yourself, because right now, as a new customer, if you download the DraftKings app and use my promo code 6MAN, you'll receive $200 in bonus bets instantly when you spend $5 on any wager. And if you're already signed up for DraftKings, fear not, as all customers can get a no-sweat, same-game parlay if your bet doesn't hit. Max reward limits apply. What more could you ask for? Download DraftKings now and put your NBA knowledge to the test by combining multiple bets together from the same game for a chance to win. So just use my promo code 6MAN to receive $200 in bonus bets when you place $5 on any wager. That's promo code 6MAN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Yes, Chris Paul is 38, and yes, he might only average 10 points a game this season, but in just 2 games, CP3 has 21 assists to just 4 turnovers. But what if I told you there was one player on the Dubs who Chris assisted 6 times in the game against Sacramento? You might immediately think of JK, Loon, or even Steph, because all you have to do is hand him the ball and he'll get you an assist. It wasn't any of those guys. It was actually Klay Thompson who Chris assisted on 6 of his 7 baskets. And whilst Klay was the one doing a lot of the work with most of these shots, these 2 plays at the end of the third were the kind of smart plays he makes consistently. On this first play, Moody makes a great steal before kicking it to Chris. And watch closely. CP points to Trace to run the floor, and pause here. Both Kings defenders are occupied with Jackson Davis, thinking that Paul will find him for an open dunk, but he looks them off to hit Klay, and that's pretty much an open shot for him. And then with 5 seconds left in the game, Chris notices McGee falling asleep. Klay makes a great cut baseline before in one motion catching it and knocking it down. But if there is one clear takeaway from the first 2 games, aside from Steph being Steph and Chris Paul, well, being still a pretty damn good passer, the third-year guys are making that leap. Last year, Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga averaged a combined 15 points and 5 rebounds per game. 2 games into the season, and that production has taken a 50% jump. Now sure, it's a small sample size, but we saw it in preseason, and they've played the Kings and the Suns. It's not exactly like they're playing the Blazers and Hornets. I've talked a lot about how good JK is, but I am so confident in Moses Moody being a great NBA player for the next decade. Don't just take my word for it, pretty much every Dubs player has said the exact same thing, with Klay being the most recent Dub to say that.
I'm just seeing Mo just being active, getting no boards. Mo's just a gamer. He just does the little things to help you win. And to be 21 years old and doing all this, sky's the limit for Mo.
And when he says Moody makes winning plays, we all know he's a lights-out shooter, but the Kings found out what he can do on defense, using his length to disrupt them on 3 different occasions, including picking off this Monk pass, which led to Klay's transition 3. I guarantee the league is going to recognize just how good both Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga are by the time the season is over. Okay guys, I admit, I lied. I said the other clear takeaway from these 2 games was the third-year players. Well, I need the entire world to remember that the Warriors have one of the best defenders in the league on their team, and I'm not talking about Draymond Green. Let's go back to Game 1 against Phoenix, a game that the Warriors nearly won despite shooting awfully from 3, and a huge reason for that was Gary Payton II. How many other players could score 1 point, go 0 of 5 from the field, and still be a plus 15 in a 4-point loss? If there is one other player that could do that, his name's Draymond Green. And some of the defensive plays that GP2 makes are just insane. Just watch this play. Gordon brings the ball up the floor. Booker is off the ball doing everything in his power to create separation whilst Nurkic is setting the pick. And just at the last second, GP2 helps off Booker to pick off the pass in the pick and roll. But you know what makes GP2 one of one? He's also capable of making defensive plays like this. Watch GP2 use his insane core strength to keep KD from creating any separation before then having the ability to go vertical and contest his shot without fouling. That's another winning player that the Dubs just didn't have last season. Now, if you want to hear about why Jonathan Kuminga is going to be huge for the Dubs this season, click here. Either way, have a nice day. Bye.